you, everyone. It's been a few months since we've met. I hope everyone's had a good summer, enjoying this ridiculous weather.
Let me get this.
Hope you're not relying on water for anything. That's for sure.
No frost for the month,
Um,
it looks like, so not tonight.
So I do not.
And I don't think so.
You didn't print, do you have a copy? You didn't print the agenda. It's up there.
How can it frost? It's only.
So the first item on
Two.
the agenda will be reviewing the minutes from our July meeting. I know we've had them for a while. I sent out a copy again yesterday to refresh your memory. As always, it's an excellent job on. I didn't see anything that needed amending.
I'll move it.
Started.
Yeah.
Second. I'll second.
Andrew.
Andrew, second. Any discussion? Any?
I can find it.
All in favor of approving the July minutes as written? Say aye. Unanimous, thank you.
I don't see where I have it that you sent yesterday. Did you guys all get a message from John yesterday?
You probably have stuff filtered for me right this way.
I'm checking my trash right now. Let's see.
So we had.
I didn't.
September meeting yesterday, you got it, it went to.
Sure, why not? Spring, do you have anything for the town?
I don't have anything real exciting. The big discussion probably is there's significant progress happening with Dryden Fiber. The new vendor that we brought on board is done with all of their pre-assessments and engineering efforts, and we're going to start seeing Dryden Fiber spreading extremely fast, much faster than it was before.
Can you turn your volume up, please?
I don't know if I can.
Yeah, you
Can
sound
you
muffled.
Let me go in a different space. Maybe that'll help.
Get my fiber.
Let's see. Is it better in here?
Yeah, better,
Yes.
yeah, better.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's possible the noise cancellation of the streaming cockatoo was causing a problem. The sorry, I lost my place. It's budget season, so there's going to be 2 additional meetings this month, just for budget, and the main topic for our regular meetings will all be budget, as is every October. So that's where a significant focus is happening at this moment in time.
Thank you.
And we have, yep, we'll just keep going.
Okay. Craig, I'm assuming since you didn't send an email.
Yeah, I apologize. I started doing it and
Oh,
my
you did
daughter
see
called and
Oh, that's nice.
I never went back to it. I forgot all about it. Yeah, the ag committee has met. We met both in August and September, and in August, Jason came and said he felt they needed the town needed this animal. I don't know what they call it.
I think it's animal control sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can pull it up and see what it says.
And so they had found a copy of one from Pollinate, New York, which isn't Dryden by any means.
Not even close.
No. And my understanding is Jason sent that copy to the attorney. He and the attorney, I think, worked on it. And the thing they sent back to the ag committee in September totally, they wanted to mark most of it out. Because it talks about 15 years in jail, you can be fined $250 a day and 215 up to 15 years in jail for your cattle being out. And how about some animal control person who nobody could identify who that would be, could go and take the cattle or animals, whatever.
From your own property. They can come onto your property.
Yeah.
and take it.
And it's, I mean, the Ag Committee crossed about all of that off, but yet they sent that copy out to the planning board that way, without the corrections that the Ag Committee asked for.
So is it still in review phase?
Yeah, but why are they sending something out to the planning board that hasn't been marked up by, you know, the Ag Committee? Because they asked the Ag Committee to do
You're
it.
just an advisory committee, so you gave your opinion, they duly noted and ignored it.
Do you want me to send it to you, John? I can send it to you right now.
You
Can you
I'm not
send it
gonna
to
do
me?
that.
Can you send it to me too, since you have it in
I
hand?
mean, I'll read it later.
What'd you say, Spring?
Can you send it to me too?
The town isn't aware of this? The town board hasn't been made aware of this?
So I can check the website, but unless I missed an email, the last I heard was we had individual you're talking about. Here's what I'm aware of. The individual you're talking about, who's having these struggles, has now joined the zoning or the planning board. And there was discussion about trying to identify if there were things in zoning that could be added to better regulate, you know, issues that may arise. But unless I missed it in a memo, or it's on a website and I didn't check the website in the last couple days, I haven't seen it yet.
I just sent it to you.
Thank you.
And it will be, it's gonna be at the ZAG meeting on Thursday. So I think it's Tony Salerno, agenda for the zoning advisory group. It's on there.
Oh, I did. Okay. I saw there was a meeting.
That's
I
how
haven't
I
read the
got
website.
it, was because it's on that, so, because I'm on that. So,
Okay.
Somebody from the committee asked me about it. And I said, well, the Ag Committee marked that up a lot. They wanted to get rid of a lot of those things.
I just,
Because they didn't see it was necessary, and they didn't see where it was even practical.
it goes beyond that. I know several farmers who've been put out of business by laws like this.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at it and saying that it's gonna be, it could be the end, real easily. I'm pretty upset.
Well, there's nothing in it either about ag and markets law. They don't reference that at all in there. And ag and markets law trumps.
All they need is
Town
the
law.
SPCA.
I propose we move this to the.
Yes,
the
agenda.
Item at the end. of the
Agenda.
meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're welcome to discuss it, but.
Yeah.
I'd just like to move on. Thanks, Craig. Steve, anything from EMC?
No, nothing from the EMC. I unfortunately I wasn't at the meeting again. It seemed to be always falling when I'm having work meetings, so
Okay.
I haven't been able to do it. So
I thought you were retired, Steve.
I wish. Maybe about like 3 or 4 years I will be, but not yet.
Okey doke. I think that covers the preamble stuff. Thanks, Lauren, for keeping me on track. Our first item on the agenda is
Oh, look, there it is.
Bob's Memorial Garden.
Mhm.
So I know Gene's done a tremendous amount of work on this.
I should be doing more. So the trees are ordered. And our budget is good, our donations are where we wanted them to be. I did send an email to the Nature Conservancy after our last meeting. Asking if we could mow the field first and like kind of start getting in there, and I didn't hear back from her because I just checked today. So I'll follow up to make sure that that's moving forward. The trees will probably be delivered in the middle of October. So if we want to set a planting date, if we want to do it with volunteers and advertise that, we should try to narrow that down so that we can start getting that out there.
How fast do they have to be planted? after
No,
acceptance?
they can stay in the garage down there for a couple weeks, so.
Oh,
I
wow.
think like the first or second weekend in November would be good to think
Okay,
of.
yeah.
You probably told us before, but what species should we end up ordering?
I got some red maple, sugar maple, some serviceberry shrubs and a white oak.
Oh, nice.
And then the plantsman is gonna donate a linden tree
Oh,
for nothing.
Did you get bare root or?
Yeah, bare root, so they should be like not horrible to plant. It does take a minute of time, but it shouldn't be so bad. It's not. it won't
It's
be as
2
much
foot by
harder.
2 foot, you said, is the hole. We'd be
About,
dig.
yeah.
Mowing, who would do the mowing?
Well,
If we get permission?
I was gonna see if we could borrow the brush hog mower from Cornell Botanic Gardens, see if Todd would let us borrow that.
Try it out there. That's what we do.
Mhm. And then just knock everything down. If, you know, we can't do that, we can probably work around it, but if that would be, it would be helpful to just kind of like be
Yeah.
able to see the whole space so that we know exactly where we're setting stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Beck Farms might also loan you a mower.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
anything.
Well, we can always talk to Rick too and see if he can help.
Okay.
I know I forget names which Beck it is, but I've known all those Becks.
Okay, well, I will follow up with the Nature Conservancy folks first, just to make sure they're okay with us doing it. I think they seem like they're pretty fine with everything I've asked for them. I just want to verify that before we get in there and start doing anything. And then I'll see what Todd says and I'll reach out to Rick if that's, we need to as well. Does anyone have a preference for planting date? I don't think like a Saturday,
Yeah.
like the 1st or the 8th. Does anyone have a
Good
preference?
November, you're talking?
Yeah.
When's the Veterans Day weekend?
Well, it's not a weekend.
The 11th.
It's like a Tuesday that's off,
The
yeah.
11th.
Yeah.
So the only long
It's the
weekend
11th,
is.
yeah.
We have a sheep symposium that on November 1st. I could do for part of it. There's, I think, but
Midweekdays.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think either.
also if you marked it out, I could go out on Friday or some other day and start digging holes. I mean, I could
Yeah.
help dig holes early if they're
Yeah.
marked.
Do you want-
There's also the election in November. Everyone needs to vote.
The election is the 4th.
What are we voting on this time?
Everything.
So there is a contested for Dryden, there's a contested race for the county legislature. So there is a very competitive race between Dan Wakeman for the legislature and a gentleman who's running on the Bull Moose, or I don't know if that's akin to Republican or akin to a MAGA party, but a Bull Moose run is also so it's going to be very tight. He only want very tight race. Let's just say last time it was within 8 votes.
Was this Dan Democratic?
Yes.
Dan's
Oh.
on the Democratic
I thought he
ticket.
was Republican.
No.
He's Staunchly Democrat.
Okay,
The original Bull Moose Party was very progressive, so
yeah. but
I
that
can
was,
I can only base it on the comments that the individuals have been making at the town board.
it was an ironic
Um,
comment that they probably have no idea what that party
It was
used to stand
Teddy,
for.
that was Teddy Roosevelt, wasn't it?
So.
It was indeed, yes.
I appreciate you encouraging people to get out the vote. I think we should leave it at that.
Everyone needs to vote. Yeah, and there's a
you
number
should-
of other people up.
Definitely educate yourself on who's running for which positions
Yeah.
and then vote your conscience.
Yeah, please do. And there's also a number of people on the town board that are up for election as well.
Yeah, do they have competition?
In the town highway. guys.
They do, yes.
Yep.
And just seeing his name on street signs, I'm assuming.
He's undefeated, right?
Probably.
Yeah, usually. See both sides, so.
What are the names you've seen?
So just uncontested candidates who put both their names on both sides.
Oh, you're talking.
have-
Jen.
We have contested candidates, many contested. It's a contested races across most of the races, so. Please do, everybody vote. whatever you believe, vote the way you should.
Because,
On your
it's,
feelings.
she's talking that first weekend in November,
Oh,
and it's.
But we didn't need to
vote
vote
right now, please.
So the Saturday, the 1st is the day after Halloween. I don't know if that bothers anybody.
Sugar rush.
That
Yeah,
would be good.
They could just do it.
Eat a mother can.
Crazy.
So do we wanna say, do like November 1st? I guess I'd rather do it earlier than put it off.
Yeah, because then if it's a rain day, you have another time.
Yeah,
That'll be.
I agree with that.
weekend after our October meeting, so we'll
Yeah.
have to
That's good.
remind everybody to be there
Okay.
4 days.
So
And
can we-
if it's a week later, it's the 8th. And I'm totally open then.
How can we advertise that? If we want volunteers to come, or how do we wanna like organize that?
Our social media guru will post stuff on. But the town website should be good. I mean, we can get it in the newsletter. It's.
You can get it into Times, the Ithaca Times, and the what's that one that goes Cortland, Ithaca, whatever,
The, like penny saver?
Oh, the shopper.
the shop. Well, we'd have to pay to put it in the shopper.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking there's another one you pick up for free.
Tompkins Weekly.
Tompkins Weekly.
I mean, we don't want like 1,000 people seeing it either, so I feel like if we do the town newsletter, the Rail Trail Facebook page, our Facebook page.
And then send it to the rail committee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. maybe that.
Is it real time so far? Should just get it on.
I would say like 9 or 10 start time and just have it be a couple hours. And then we should decide on a plaque. So I did reach out to the person I ordered plaques from before. We kind of have two options in my mind. Like we could, like these, kind of brass plaques
That was nice.
are more expensive. That would probably be several $100s, which we have the budget for. Or we could go with something more like, maybe. Let's.
Those are brass also.
These are, the ones I would get are actually silver in
Oh.
color. And this we could get the actual plaque for free. The Friends of Stewart Park said they would donate one to us. Because they have like a bunch of blanks for benches that they do, and so we just have to pay probably like $40 or $50 to have it engraved. So we're not really short on money, but this we would be able to get definitely in time. The brass plaque we might not have in time for the planting. I don't know how much that matters to folks. Okay, let me see if I can log into the image. Quick, so
And we were going to put this on a bench.
that's the idea.
Bench we're gonna build, buy.
I was thinking just one of those simple like Leopold
Leopold
benches. Which I can also,
And yet have it attached to something solid so it doesn't
Yeah.
walk.
Chain
yeah, we'll have to.
Chain it. That's so ugly.
Well, we'll figure out.
it. It's overgrown. Chain disappears into vegetation. Cable,
What's it chained to?
the post we drive into the ground. Huh, we'll figure it
I
out.
mean, if you're going to have
The white oak tree.
cement, you can.
Recording in progress. Okay, so if I'm allowed to share. Oh,
Are you in control or do I need to?
I'm in, but I need to be allowed to share.
No, you need to. You just select her
It's
some.
letting me do it.
Oh.
I allowed all participants to do that.
Okay.
You have to enable your video in order to share.
Shouldn't have to.
I don't know if you need to or not. There you go.
Working. So, okay, so here's like what a Leopold bench looks like, and that's pretty easy to construct. So we definitely have the funds to purchase the wood, and like, I feel like I could build that pretty easily. And then, how do I get to? Get rid of this thing. Okay.
Thinking pressure treated cedar.
I was thinking black locust.
Yeah.
So this is the brass plaques, which I have put on some benches, some memorial benches for the city. You know, you can make them whatever size you want, but I think we probably would have maybe 4 lines of text, so I don't think we want it to get too wordy, or something like this.
Are they very different in size?
The ones that I have that we would get from Friends of Stewart Park, if they donated one, is probably maybe the size of like a postcard. These ones are generally a little more of a long rectangle, but probably about the same like footprint.
Huh.
These are much more expensive. But, you know, we do, so I don't know if anyone has a preference.
Well, if they're gonna last
Those are-
equally long
I
and
think they do last equally long.
and as sturdy, this brass actually looks thicker.
Mhm.
And that could be uncomfortable when you're sitting on the bench
To
against
lean
it.
on it,
Yeah,
yeah.
where's it gonna be attached?
I guess I was thinking we'd put it like on the back
Yeah,
bench.
yeah, then the thicker one might, yeah, I think you're right, Nancy, it might be a little bit too uncomfortable leaning against it.
Got Master Carpenter Gene's gonna wrap a little recess in there. so-
Yeah.
So I'm thinking if you just have some concrete there that something coming up from the concrete and you can just bolt it to
Did you
it.
make these things that I haven't gotten them for park bench or picnic tables, but I've seen them before? It's like a cable, you know, that we could like do a hole through here and put a cable through the leg, and then it's like, they call them duck bills. I think you like
Yeah.
push them in the ground, and then when you go to pull them out, they like.
I have some.
And you
Yeah.
can't, so like
Yeah.
even something like that, then you
Yeah.
could kind of move the bench to mow around it, but
Mhm.
you couldn't like actually haul it away. You know, if we set it in
Oh, I
concrete,
see.
then it'll be a pain. to
Yeah,
get
that
under
could
it.
be useful to be able to pick the bench up.
And just like shift it over 2 feet and then clear under it and move it back.
Yeah.
So I'll look into that.
On the other hand, that also could ultimately make a pretty big hole in the bottom. But anyway, yeah. You can buy duckbills like that. Well, I don't know, I get them from fencing supplies, but
Yeah, I've just seen ones like from like playground equipment catalogs that are like specifically for like park benches or picnic tables, things like that, so they don't travel all over the parks. Okay, so I'll look into that a little bit, and then we should start thinking about maybe the text we want to put on the plaque. I feel like we don't need to write a paragraph, but if anyone wants to, or I could start something.
Gwen, if she has an idea of anything,
Okay,
she might, maybe there was some saying he liked.
oh, yeah. Okay. So we
Yeah,
can.
favorite
um,
poem or something too, if it's short.
Yeah.
Or quote or something, yeah, I'll work on that and just send like via email, we can kind of discuss.
Mhm.
That, in the meantime. And I need to ask Amanda how we spend the money. Like how exactly that works.
Yeah.
So I can send an invoice from the city for the trees, but in terms of like, if I'm gonna buy fencing or something like that, like how do I buy it with those funds? Is there like a reimbursement system, or how did that work? So I'll follow up with her on that. And I think that sounds well progressing. I kind of wish we were like 1 month things too. But I think we can
Great
get it done.
progress.
I think we can get it done.
Definitely on track.
Yeah,
And ultimately, the plaque isn't really
Right.
the planting day.
Right.
Eventually there.
Add that later.
Mhm.
and if all the holes aren't dug, I mean, like I said, I can go out and start digging earlier
Yeah.
or later.
Okay.
Say the like address again, like, you know, we've talked about it a lot. But
Mallory.
Oh, let me, I can still share.
the like natural area.
Then you go to West Malloryville,
Gotcha, that
West
must be-
Malloryville Road, go across the bridge, and it's not too far across the bridge, and it's right there on the right.
And while I have you here, if we do mark it and I start digging earlier, are we supposed to dig onto a tarp, or we can just dig it onto the side? How neat do we have to be?
I feel like we probably don't need to be that neat.
Okay, good.
It's
I
all
can deal
just,
with
it's
that.
all just gonna grow up around it anyways. Yeah, the address just says West Malloryville Road.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for doing all the legwork on that, Gene.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, of course.
appreciate it and looking forward to.
If they have mowed it, I'm gonna recommend that you have a rake or something, to rake away the cut material before you put the dirt on it.
And are you gonna let TNC know when the planting date is, because they wanna send someone out to say something about how much Bob meant to that preserve being there?
To who? The nature center?
TNC.
Yeah,
Nature Conservancy.
yeah, I'll make sure they know everything.
I doubt. So, anyone else have, you got anything to say about the memorial? Garden / plaque? Do you have any ideas for the plaque to share them?
Yeah.
We'll probably have to come to some consensus before our October meeting.
Yes, yeah, so we can do that via email over the next 4 weeks.
Oh, look at the little hearts going up.
Acting first.
Dryden Lake Dam. Boom, boom.
All right, I have a bit of an update.
Yes, you have enough. Okay.
We just talked
What
about
was
we were
yours?
there. So, I asked, so there was a meeting, again, I can't go because only 2 members can go. But there was a meeting with, a number of people from the state. My understanding, from a brief follow-up, Stanley and a brief follow-up is that, the town identified and found, a contractual agreement that the state signed, that they were committed to maintaining the dam for 25 years. And that was like 10 years ago, at its current, quality and levels. So there is a contract that the state is bound to, maintain the dam for at least another 15 years. So, this was brought to the state's attention. The lawyers have been contacted, so that the town can take a hard line on requiring that the state follow through with its contractual agreement, which apparently is not apparently not common, but is something that, we required of them, back a while ago. So it's feeling a lot more positive about on that front. I sent you guys a Facebook post that,
Sorry, sorry to interrupt. So the strategy is for the town to basically sue the state to rehabilitate the dam?
I'm not saying it's that far, I'm just saying that they made the state aware that they had the contract. It sounds like,
Are you
at
sure it's a
least
contract?
yes. Yes. So, that is, I don't have it in hand, but at the last meeting, the state was reminded of this, and, it sounds like probably a lot of people changed, so the people who they were meeting with may not have been there for that process 10 years ago. So it's sounding much more positive that we're on solid legal footing, that they made this commitment, that they have to maintain it. So I think the state went back to discuss and get back to us on that, but it's feels a lot better to me that we have it in legal writing that they need to maintain it.
Contracts are good. Contracts is one thing that if it does go to court, judges side for the contract.
I would
That's the
hope that
problem
would,
with
I would hope it would never come to that, but I'm feeling a lot better knowing that we've got a very clear legal document.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you seen this stuff? This is all hearsay, it seems like, but
Again, I wasn't at the meeting.
Exactly, so we can speculate about.
But
Exactly.
my understanding is they had the contract at the meeting, they reviewed the contract with the state. And that all happened, so. I can ask Dan to send me a copy of the contract, but. That's the update, is they had it in hand and it was discussed at the meeting.
Okey-doke.
It wasn't just talked about, they had it physically there.
I didn't get to go to the meeting. I never got that notice.
I
He
knew-
promised me he'd send me the notice and he never did.
I knew about the meeting, but. Heard about the meeting, but
Yeah,
I know a meeting happened. So my understanding is one of the things the state brought up was that they have, a $7 million budget for maintain all their dams statewide. They maintain over 300 dams. So they're not in the position to spend $3.5 million, half of their annual budget on maintenance of
I'm one.
one non-high hazard structure. But I guess if there's a legal contract, then. But anyway,
So, I mean, I'd like to hear what the state comes back with before we start a letter writing campaign or something to that effect. But I think that I'm hoping that we'll have much better information to then move forward with and I was gonna ask you guys, like,
it seems to me that a better strategy for the town would be to find a way to help fund the project instead of just waiving a legal document saying you shall do this. And put the bill on the taxpayers of New York. You should put together
Well,
a committee who, if this is important to the town. It seems to me that the town should organize a committee to help save the dam and fundraise for it. There's lots of grants
So-
there potentially. There's ways to get funding to do this type of work without just going the legal route. And I don't know if it's because we have lawyers.
so I would think
government.
my take would be that this then would be the committee if we wanted to do that. So are we ready to take that on?
Well, I'm not, but because I have no interest in saving the dams, like I'm the lone voice in that end, so.
I heard that
I mean,
they reported it on this at the planning board meeting and said we're taking a hard line on this. The town board.
I mean, that's one approach, but I think there's more productive approaches for the town to take. And if,
Oh.
I mean, it sounds like you forwarded an email, or a Facebook post from the guy you mentioned who's running.
So that's Dan Wakeman. So
Dan
he's
Wakeman.
not on the town board. He's running for
I-
legislature.
I know, but he's, so that there's clearly interest in this town, and I think the vast majority of people in the town want to protect this lake, so it seems like there should be a way that you can have some sort of grassroots movement and raise money, and I mean, it's gonna be more than a bake sale, but you can put together a committee similar to the rail trail maybe that goes out and seeks funding and sorts. I mean, they got a $3 million grant to build a bridge that nobody wants. And well, I want the bridge. I say nobody facetious, but
So
So-
in all seriousness, this is the conservation board. So if there's going to be a committee that takes on fundraising, this would be the committee to do it.
well, when you remove me as president, you can do that. But I'm not gonna bring in, well, I mean, I can't stop anyone on this board from doing that. But it's not gonna be me who does it, so anyone's free to step up and do it, but somebody needs to step up. And then
Who-
every
who was-
meeting we talked about this, someone said, well, we can go get this grant, we can go do that grant, but somebody needs to do that. And it can't just be one person, it needs to be a group of people who with similar goals and interests and just go and do it.
Who was responsible for maintaining the dam over all these years? Was it the DEC?
Yes,
The DEC and they own it. They own the park.
Well, then we could
we
very
mow
much-
it. We don't own it.
Well, then we could argue that they haven't been maintaining it if it's in the state it is now. So I see nothing wrong with having the state, put that money in there to bring it up to the standard it needs to be, because they haven't been putting that money in the past to keep it maintained, if that was their responsibility. So,
I mean, at some point, you can't really actively maintain a structure that has a finite life. Right, I mean, things degrade over time, you can't just go and
you have
replace
to
part of it
replace,
at a
you have to
time.
replace the whole thing.
When the thing
Has to be
reaches the
replaced.
point where it's no longer, I mean, it's been there for 50 years or something, 40 years. I don't know when Bob's
The
cousin
70s.
or someone.
It was
built
in the
it.
70s, it was built.
But it's been there a while, so, or rebuilt, because it's been there since the 1800s.
Yeah.
So there's, I mean, the maintenance they do is mowing and other maintenance, but you can't, a structure has a finite.
No.
Now, when it gets to a
So
point where
So the town's been doing all the mowing and taking care of the property as a park as part of an agreement with the DEC, but the DEC owns the property and they have a contract to maintain the lake at its current state.
So one strategy might be for this committee of Save the Dam, would be to, come up with alternative designs. Find a willing engineer to give you some pro bono services and say, we don't need to build a $3 million poured concrete structure. We can do it with sheet piling. We can do it. There's there should be more than one alternative for rehabilitating a dam. And again, you can go the legal route and say you shall do this, and I think that's very one-sided and negative, and nobody's gonna feel good about it. You might feel good about it, but you save the dam, but you're not gonna make any friends in the DEC. And you're not gonna make any friends in the rest of the state that has to foot the bill for drivings.
Well, I wonder if it would even be effective, because if you're saying that their total budget is 7 million and this project is 3, then it's not a hazard, it's not a threat. The DC might say, go ahead and sue us, town, like it doesn't make sense for us to spend this money, like they just wouldn't be able to do it. They'd have to spend the money on dams that are actually threatening people's properties or whatever, so.
Again, it doesn't seem like a good approach to take, but we're on that over. Just the biologist.
I've taken your notes and we'll share the feedback.
All on the record.
I went to the town board meeting and suggested that they have a public meeting so that people would know and then get input from the people, and I was shot down like. It was nasty to me.
The
He
feedback
went to
was,
the meeting that night. He was anything but pleasant. We don't need that. Why would we need a meeting? I said to give people information, and then they might come up with some other, like you said, alternative ideas. Now,
Do you remember, it was a few years ago that there were flyers around town? It was about the dam is gone, the lake will be gone, and there was a meeting at the park.
right.
With it, yeah, and that was just,
With,
grassroots.
but it was with our state senator.
Mhm. But I don't.
She isn't anymore.
Yeah,
And I think he was pushing to get the money to do it. But he's not our state senator anymore.
I just, talking about like community, it was like.
Yeah, it was
people that
good. So
just
people
flyers
could
around.
find out what was
People
going on.
got very.
That was
had
quite a
strong
while
feelings.
ago.
Yeah.
Was it like he's been gone a long
It
time?
was like around.
Well, it was over. It wasn't Seward.
Oh, it wasn't Seward,
It was after Seward.
Okay.
And then I saw something recently on Facebook that was like that. Yeah, like what's going on? I heard this and not like all of these rumors and so it does seem like it would be worthwhile for the town to have clear information.
That's what
out
I
there.
thought.
Yeah, they understand.
I
where
was
you're
told
coming
there
from.
wasn't gonna be any public meeting.
so let me clarify that there was one of the things Dan was saying, and I understand, was that it's very hard to have a public meeting until we had more information.
Mhm.
There was also clear direction. The town board felt that this needs to really be, if we want to have a public meeting before we have information to share, that again, this really needs to be organized by a committee, and that it would be this committee that would take lead on organizing a public hearing, similar to how the rec committees and things like that organize events.
But that's not what his response was to me. He just was, no, there's not gonna be a public meeting. He was very short and very, not, but that's Dan. I mean, that's how he behaves. I've been shot down by him many times.
I'll just tell you, I
So if anyone from this board wants to pursue that, feel free. I'm not gonna step in anyone's way, but I'm not gonna be doing it, so.
Well,
I'll believe it.
one of his thoughts was send the information they had about the building of the dam to this committee and see if we thought that the figures they were using were realistic. I said it was.
Did, I don't know if
bid.
anybody looked at any of it.
He said, I said it was put out to bid. These were the bid. No, it wasn't put out to bid. No, he told me, he sat right there that night and said it was never put out to bid. I said, well, I think it was, because that's what I heard. Well, it must be you and I weren't in the same meeting. These are just estimates of the cost of the materials.
No, the estimate was 1.5 million. That bids came back at 3.5.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. No. There was no bid. It
I
was.
haven't seen
wasn't
anything in
bid.
writing. Everything I've heard is hearsay, so I don't know. Nothing actionable. But I appreciate the update, Spring, and people will keep talking. We'll talk about it every month. That'd be good. And maybe someone will do more than just talk about it. Take action. Now the big gorilla in the room, zoning update.
Yeah, I think.
They have, the proposal has been, put to the town board, that it's going to be going to the town board. That they don't expect to make much changes to it yet as it's written. But we will actually address it again at the next SAG meeting, because at the last SAG meeting, they did not have a quorum. And they could not officially accept it and move it on. So, and it will be interesting because our illustrious leader is not going to be there. So there's somebody else who's going to be, the different planning board members going to be taking over as chair, and he put out a plea to please make sure there's 4 planning board members present so they can vote to send it to the town board. Not much has been changed in general yet, but Marie McCray and I went to the planning board meeting, this last one. And there's one member, and I think he's gonna be the guy who's gonna be chairing it, the ZAG meeting this time, but anyway, it's a Frank, is gonna be chairing it, and I'm not sure if he's the guy who's from Cornell, who facilities is. the
Parrish.
guy- What?
Frank Parrish. It's his
Frank-
name.
Okay, that's not who's, I think there's a Raponi, right, who's also. Yeah,
I think
okay.
so, but Frank Parrish is who I'm thinking was offering to be chair.
Okay,
Unless I've got all my Franks confused, but I think it's Frank Parrish.
anyway, the guy who's the facilities guy, because I have to say, who is that guy? Really wanted the size limit for the big elephant in the room on that is the data centers. And he wanted that to be at least 20,000 square feet. This is ground square feet is what they're measuring, and the building can be up to 35 feet tall is the way it's currently written. No one was, well, they were discussing possibly changing the thing. One person was suggesting that they at least make it, instead of talking about square foot and having a height limit, to just make it cubic feet. So they could make it whatever shape they want. But anyway, so one Frank guy is really concerned that we make it big enough. And he really wants to see them, and they don't want to, it was brought up, no NIMBYs. And that the world is going towards data centers. And at least 2 people were pretty adamant about keeping it at the 5,000 square feet. So nothing has been changed with the writing yet, but at this next ZAG meeting, that's when they will probably push for a decision on this, what the volume size is on it. In any case, it currently still is no more than 1 data center per area of light industrial, of which we currently have 2. And Alice had been concerned about the effect on the rail trail, and I had pointed out to her that the 2 sites, one of them is on the corner of Hanshaw and Route 13, up by where the storage place is.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, that's of no consequence to the rail trail. And of course, the other one is right at the crossing of the rail trail over Route 13. But as I pointed out to Alice, by the time what Alice was concerned about, you're on the rail trail for quiet and seeing things and stuff like that. I said, you've just gone over Route 13. It really, there's no point to worrying about noise level from this thing, and she agreed. But then I thought, oh, what if, once again, what's the future? What if they create another light industrial center? And they said, well, we just have to revisit it. But of course, who's going to remember to revisit it? Somebody has to remember that has to be revisited. So anyway, that nothing about rail trail is going to be going into this. Because we'd have to put it in terms of in the future, if you do change things. It's just not the way people like to write laws. So I guess that's the main thing. The main thing at ZAG has been these things, and that was the main thing at this planning board meeting too. They spent a lot of time arguing about the data centers. And actually, I don't remember anything else they were.
Well, it's a big deal,
Talking about
right?
it.
And potential for data centers and the amount of energy they use and electricity they require and water.
And water, and I did find out.
It's a big drag on natural resources and potentially the cost of electricity for residents.
And that has went on to about the effective cost on it. And they were saying, well, they're talking about generators. So the other thing they want to put into this, and I can't remember if there already is something in there about it, is about diesel fumes from generators. So there's something in there about generators that they want to be able to control. And they were talking about limiting the size partly in they discussed, can we limit it in terms of electricity used or product output or cost of X, and I was going like, well, some other people going on things too. There was one thing they were talking about, and I said, you would have to audit them every year. And I said, A, I don't think you do it. B, I don't think you should be going and auditing this company to regulate it. So I was suggesting they could maybe limit the electricity going in, but they said you really can't. You can't regulate anything about the electrical system inside the building because by law it just has to meet state code. And anything else, it was not really working to try and limit the amount of electricity they used. In terms of water, there would be a current limit in terms of water availability for the system. Both sites, I believe, well, certainly the NYSEG site, which is the most likely site for this because that's located, of course, next to the substation. Lots of electricity. The other site is not as attractive. The water there's from Bolton Point, and what Ray told me was it's currently, as far as he knows, it's currently unlimited to get the water there. But the limitation is the water comes in and goes into a tank. And there is a requirement that there be a certain amount of pressure available for XYZ, whatever. Anyway, so as the more water is drawn from it, then the lower that pressure thing is, right? So that's the limitation on drawing water, is the effect on the tank's ability to supply. But that does not put aside the opportunity that for someone to put in another tank. So there can be more water, but there might have to be another tank to hold it. And of course, I don't know who controls the ability of Bolton Point to supply these. We haven't gotten to that discussion at any time. So that's another thought, but it's way far in the future. So that's about where it is. Marie and some other people are still pushing for no data center, period. Why don't they ban it? And the consultant they had said, yes, you can ban it. You know, because everybody's saying, oh, you can't ban it. It's much better to write a restriction. And she says, no, you can ban it. Just like, okay. The problems always are how you define data centers. That's another issue. Exactly how you define them. So I think that's most of what we're doing. We're still, you know, that they are kind of public meetings, even those, even the ZAG meetings, and we meet again this Thursday. So the final discussion on this data center stuff, I expect, is going to be this Thursday. And of course, the planning board meeting that they just had was, the open session there was the closest thing we get to a public hearing before it goes to the town board. The town board has to have a public hearing on it. But as I pointed out to them, every time I've been to one of those, there's a public hearing, and then the town board meets and accepts whatever was proposed. So they occasionally change very minor things. The probability they would change anything that the planning board came up with on the data center size, I would expect to be small, but there would be an opportunity to try and talk to them then. But if you wanted to come to the ZAG meeting, the ZAG meeting starts at 6. And that's when Joe Wilson came, and he also put in a push for a total ban. And he was also at the planning board pushing for total ban, he and Marie.
Because of what reason?
Because they think it's just not needed. That it's not, as Joe put in, he says, what would this offer Dryden? It would not offer jobs.
Well, they don't hire people, they bring people in.
They would have jobs to build something. That's the only
Data
thing.
centers don't hire people?
They don't need to build people to manage, more than one person, possibly 2, to manage the thing.
I have no idea.
Yeah, you have to construct them, but after that, they're just a server. They're just a giant
You have
server.
to have somebody to keep track of things and monitor when alarms go off, and yeah.
It's not staffed by hundreds of people.
Yeah,
No,
but
I don't-
you
it's
can do
staffed by
that.
hundreds
You
of
don't even
computers.
have to do that on site. You can probably do that remote.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Would it affect like the tax base for the public?
Well, what would you do if it's drawing from the electricity? It can increase your electric rate because it
Okay.
puts a draw on the electric grid.
Yeah, like any business,
I'm not sure how they're going to assess it. I don't know how they would assess it. It's a structure, and it's not a big it's not going to be a huge footprint.
Do they give like an estimated amount that like the public's taxes would increase because of because of its high usage?
No, and I don't know that they can, because they don't know what what would be put in there.
So Naomi,
And honestly, we don't know what the future holds on things. Computers are getting, in addition to getting smaller, they're getting more efficient, and they're getting made out of other materials that don't draw as much electricity. So there's a lot that's not known as to what would ultimately happen. They would have in this climate, they would have to have a generator available for backup anyway. So that you can guarantee there's going to be some sort of a generator there.
Yeah, Naomi, there's been problems. So where they have allowed these large scale data centers to go in other places in New York State and Pennsylvania, for example, different ones seem to run into different problems. Some run into a problem with noise.
Yeah.
Others have figured that out, but then they draw so much electricity that the electrical costs for the community start going up. There are concerns about, does it have concerns for firefighters because, it's such a huge electrical field draw. And so I think the discussion's been, well, if it's small, and something that's needed, it'd be helpful. But in some communities, like in Virginia, they've really welcomed them. But they've come with cost to the community. So exactly what this would flush out for and mean from a financial standpoint is very hard to understand.
I was gonna say, I've seen a lot of reports recently from across the US on different communities and impacts that AI data centers are having. Did they not give like a monthly or yearly kilowatt usage or like production, like in that kind of a sense? Like, do we know, can we compare it to what our normal or average household community-based usage is?
There were statements about that, and I don't remember all the numbers, but how many, for a data center, the size of the 5,000 square foot, how many houses could be, of the standard, if you average the centers that are in existence in their draw, how many houses that is equal to it, and it was stunningly large, stunningly large. But like I said, it's not clear that what this would be, and what's of interest to me is that I think it would be reasonable to have something called the data center. I think the 5,000 square foot thing sounded fine. I think making it cubic feet, 5,000 square feet, 35 feet high. And actually the cubic feet would be a better thing because the way it's written, it's GSF, ground square feet.
Yeah.
Cantilever it and you've got a bigger thing. Because they're going to be looking at ground level, which is how they measure everything. When you are looking at what you're allowed to do, how far you are from the road, how far you are from your neighbor, it's always at ground level. And if you're cantilevered, then it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Not to say that people are really going to want to do very much cantilevering and packing expensive computers on it, but no telling.
Has Anna Cal's been involved in this at all?
As who?
Anna Cal's.
Not in this particular
I know she's
discussion.
been involved with the data center on the lake.
Oh, well, that's one of the, that's going to be huge. Yeah. That would be a huge one. Yeah.
She's Fremont resident.
And we don't have we don't have the energy source for something like that in the first place. And we don't even have, I don't think we even have the gas lines for it unless they wanted to put it in Ellis Hollow and tap directly in to the, please don't suggest it to them.
I have another question.
I mean, we have the gas lines in Ellis Hollow that they could tap into, but for something like that, but yeah.
Did they give a rundown of how much water they were expecting to pump out of the Creek Lake River?
It's not clear that they even would use it.
This is not a building.
The water would be used for cooling, but they don't have to use water for cooling. They can be air cooled. That's part of when you get into the noise because air cooling is fans. So water cooling is quieter. We do have a noise ordinance and it's written in that they have to meet the noise ordinance. So it'd be difficult to see how they could cool with fans and meet the noise ordinance. But
I want to clarify something for Naomi. Naomi, there's no they. It's not like this is a building proposal that someone's come and said, I want to build this and here's how much electricity I'm going to use and here's how much water. This is just a what if someone was going to come and want to build one. So we are
think-
taking as a town
Okay.
to create a zoning rule. We have to kind of take our best guess at what would they even be asking for? How much water would they possibly use? So the zoning committee has been given 2 years. There's a moratorium on building any of these until they can do a study. This is them doing the study to understand what would someone even be coming and wanting to build, because we have
Well,
we don't have
And is
zoning
there even
for
a
it.
benefit
They
to our
got-
town having it?
The reason we got pushed towards it is because someone did come with a proposal to put one
Right,
in.
but this isn't a review of their proposal. This is
No,
a
this is
zoning
a
review of the
generic
whole.
law.
Yeah,
This would apply to all, and it's, and actually the moratorium was just 18 months, which is why they're not doing the first public hearing. Because they're running out of time on that. If it was actually the full 2 years, we'd have time to have a public hearing for the planning board and a public hearing for the town board. But we've run out of time to be able to do that. So there's really only going to be the one full public hearing.
These are still, this will still require a seeker review, right?
No,
if someone proposes to build one, then you have to go through the seeker, but just the zoning rules
Right,
aren't the seeker themselves.
right.
I have one last question. Is there any actual benefit to having an AI data center or just a data center in the community?
well, that was what Joe Wilson asked. No one had an answer for it exactly. There is a feeling that there are businesses that they expect will make use of data centers in the future if they are not already making use of off-site ones. And in a sense, some of them probably are, like insurance agencies that have to work on probabilities actuarial. I'm gonna say that right. But yeah, the kind of data they use, I expect some of that is being done at data centers somewhere.
At
Because
this
they're
point,
crunching when you
so
crunch big numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way
Now,
it
other
makes
than
sense
that,
to
it's
me,
AI. They're talking about AI stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, I ran into this guy. It's very interesting. He's actually involved in working on some of this stuff, but he was saying he feels the thing of the future is AI will not be the AI chatbot that's universal, but it will be much more useful to society. Will be to have AI that is dedicated to topics. So it will be much more complete and faster and in that. So if you wanted to look up Gothic architectural design, for instance, it would be very, very good at that. And it wouldn't be troubled by too much massive other stuff that it has to deal with. And that sounded interesting to me. That sounded like things could happen. And I don't know, those would be different that would then be different companies. Each company would be running its own AI subtopic. So that could be something that happens. But again, if it's computers, you don't need a lot of people, even if you need several. It's not going to hire 30 people.
the reality is we're all using data centers. I mean, right now we're sitting on a Zoom call. There's no question that is running somewhere in a data center. Right now we're using AI because we're recording it and it will kick out notes, right?
No more
So
virtual meetings.
it's at this point, I think it's a question of a not in my backyard or not. Do we allow it? It can be a very slippery slope, and the laws are brand new. I mean, when we started this conversation, AI was not nearly as huge as it's become in the last year. So it's
yeah, but I mean, what benefit does it offer our community? And I think that's the like what Joe Wilson was saying. Does it offer anything for us as as the town of Dryden? Does it help us at all? And it doesn't seem like it. We can still use AI from other centers that are someplace else if we were a energy rich area, then I'd say, yeah, well, maybe we could do that and wouldn't affect our community, but we aren't. And I don't think it would help us. So,
Are there any economists on the planning board who can do a good cost benefit analysis? Because to me, I just see costs and not a lot of benefits. You know, my electricity bills are already going up.
Yeah, it's already been a huge problem.
And if this is just gonna add another reason to raise my rates, I'd be opposed to it selfishly. With, especially if there's no benefit to the community.
Come this Thursday night and state your case. Cause like I said, it's what will happen is what I really think will happen is whatever ZAG sends to the town board. There'll be a public hearing and then they'll accept what the ZAG sent them.
Is it worthwhile for us to put something together as a board? I know that we've done in the past, that is a recommendation.
Well, I think our representative on the board is our voice,
Okay.
providing that input, but it sounds like the representative on our board might not be in.
What?
There might not be consensus on the board as how to proceed on a recommendation for this.
I mean, if you want to, if you want me to say as a board, you would not like to see it, my feeling is I don't find a problem with the 5,000 square foot one. I do find a problem with the big one. But if we want to vote as a board and say we don't see an advantage.
Why
But I don't see, I mean, as a conservation board, shouldn't we be recommending something in terms of conservation? So how can you work conservation into that?
I
If you
mean, in
want-
some ways, we could try and regulate that, like they use renewable methods to try and power their electricity and their energy, but I think that would be too far scale to like regulate that they have to come in and have at least 50% renewable energy base.
Sadly,
that's
that would be a different kind of law. It wouldn't be zoning. So
Right.
that would be a whole different can of worms, because zoning can't regulate how much electricity is used or where it comes from,
Or the type of electricity.
or the
you're
type.
saying.
Yeah, I like the idea, but it's not the tool we
Why
have in
would
our
we be-
toolbox at the moment.
Yeah.
Why would we be okay with a small data center but not a large one?
I guess I was thinking in terms of a company being able to, I don't know, it just seemed like okay to me.
I'm just, with our community's climate smart goals, it does not sound like it hits the climate smart goals with what you're talking about. With one data center is equivalent of however many homes.
It's
If we're
true.
all supposed to be reducing our usage, how can we potentially stand behind an increase of usage that doesn't directly, it's not taking it away from saying, oh, well, like Dry Pepper, we're gonna use it in the community. We don't know it's being used. We're not benefiting from it. A private company is, so it doesn't seem like it hits those goals. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
So do we want to vote on this?
It's nothing to vote on really, but.
Yeah, no, does the whole board agree? I mean, she makes a very good argument. I think I could agree with that. If you want to state that as a proposal that we vote on, that's your thing. We could take a vote and then I could take that to the ZAG committee, but let's have it as it's a statement and a vote.
Yeah.
I obviously haven't been in as many meetings as you have, but like you said, it's a slippery slope, and that's where my concerns come in is. Oh, and like it's happened with other data centers locally, is they're doing the wrong thing.
Wait a second.
They're doing things to the environment that they shouldn't be doing. And getting them to stop is a lot harder than getting them to not.
Right.
So I would say no.
I agree with you. I think that there isn't really any benefits to even offer. There's
Yeah.
gonna be at least some form of increase. It's not even like they're gonna offer a decrease.
Okay.
In some sense of the word, you're right. Like once they're already in place, it becomes a lot harder to manage what impact that then causes.
Exactly what she's doing. I can see what she's trying.
So it is the view of the conservation board that the, I don't know, do you agree with this? Right? I want to say it's the view of the board if you don't, but.
I have mixed feelings. But I don't feel like I know enough.
Well,
both sides to vote on anything.
Can you see a benefit for having a data center in the town?
I would wanna try to find out if there are, before I said, no, we shouldn't have any.
Reasonable.
which would be at the public hearing, I suppose.
Well, I think the benefits are to the owner of the building and the rent they get from that, so it's benefits to. There's benefit to that, so it's the individual rights to make a living in the town, the way they see fit, not the way the town sees fit.
Yeah, that's true.
But from my perspective at least, it's, the net cost to the town is significant enough that we should regulate the types of activities that have the potential more of a downside than a net upside for society.
Well, the other thing, and one thing that the zoning law does say is it cannot be used for data mining or Bitcoin stuff.
How are they gonna know that? Who's gonna
I'm
regulate
gonna
that?
say, how do we regulate that?
We don't regulate the
true.
laws we have on the books
And
now.
that's what it says in there. That's what it says in there. Oh, that's a good point. Wait, how are they gonna even know?
And then the issue that I've read about for AI versus even Bitcoin is AI is around the clock. It doesn't stop. Bitcoin like has hours where they're not using it. AI is 24 hours.
Does it?
No, that's the.
When does
when-
Bitcoin have hours there?
I read it about the Millikan proposal, and that's the issue with AI data.
Are they
centers.
traded on the stock exchange? So you just get them on, I don't
I
know.
guess AI never sleeps. That's why it's a robot.
I don't see how Bitcoin would not be the same.
Oh, and that's just that was
24/7.
That was the article I read.
All
in the-
data, all data centers, regardless of whether it's AI or Bitcoin or anything, it's they're just server farms. I mean, I don't know how you'd regulate what's going through a server that's
Right.
talking to something in Virginia. But sorry, I'll be quiet.
No, don't be quiet. So, yeah, so what I hear you all saying is that, the only advantage to the town that you're coming up with is that someone would own the building and make money off rent. And that the
Yes, pay taxes. So the
And pay
benefit of the town is
taxes.
the tax revenue.
taxes for having a building. And the downside is higher electric costs for all of us, or concerns over pollution from generators. Or both.
Noise.
Well, the
Water
noise
consumption.
ordinance is in there, so the noise we have. In terms of decibels, nothing more than a certain number of decibels. Although there's nothing about the frequency. I don't know if you have a very low frequency. It isn't going to be heard, but it will be felt. I don't know why they would be using a low frequency, but it's just there. And it would be felt for a long distance. That's
Can I just summarize and say what I'm hearing you guys say? Let me make sure I'm understanding is we're saying the benefit would be that it would increase the tax base, but we have no idea if that increase to the tax base would cover the additional costs for our local water plant, water treatment, electrical consumption to our taxpayers, and
Wait a minute, what are the
potentially other
concerns?
fire department impact or
Mhm.
anything else. We have no idea if it would be a wash or actually a benefit to the taxpayers.
Okay, wait, let me see. What were the benefits again? Was increased tax base, what else?
Potential.
That was it.
What? Was that the only one
Yes.
potential? Okay.
That's the only-
The only
Okay,
one I
and-
heard.
And the bad is, and I heard noise,
Would it increase?
and
tax base?
I'm going to add in something about.
Someone who already
low.
owns the property and are paying taxes on
We pay more taxes, there's
Or something.
It's developed, if it's, the property's developed, it's worth more
Yeah,
than.
I mean, I pay a much lower rate on my vacant land than I do on the house.
Right, but is it, would we make enough money off the additional tax revenue to pay for the
Right.
additional expenses of having that much of a draw on the water treatment plant, on our water sewer systems, on our
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm sure
electricity,
that
our roads? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, and the assessment's probably just going to be for, like, how much would an empty warehouse be? Because that's pretty much what it would be. It wouldn't be very much of an assessment. So you're not going to get much of an increase in taxes.
Not enough to make it a true.
So in a sense, it would be low increase of tax base for the unit of space is what you're saying, yeah. That we wouldn't have a way really to assess it, but I don't know how the assessors would assess it. If it's full of computers, it's full of important things.
Yeah, but they don't assess that.
In the building.
That's right. It's just the property and the fact that it has a structure on it, and it will be based on the size of the structure.
Structure, I mean, yeah, it won't be.
But so that would be the case no matter what was in that. So I can't really say that that's bad.
But
Any kind of
all the
thing.
costs,
If you
right?
use that space for apartments or something, not saying it wouldn't,
Yeah.
but like. that
We
would-
know it's light industrial, so it has to be used for
But
industrial.
if it
I
were,
mean, my house could be full of computers, could have a server farm in it, and my assessment wouldn't change. So,
Right, okay, so I'm not sure that increase of tax base is like, not really, not really.
What are the benefits to having a data center in the town of Dresden?
Well, we're not coming up, they didn't come up with much either.
Right.
just because you can doesn't mean you should. That would be,
Right.
yeah.
So, but I, if you want me to say something at ZAG meeting, I need to have something to say. And we need to have it stated so, and everybody votes, so I can say this is how the board voted.
I think what Kate said about it not aligning with the climate smart community. Memorandum, whatever that document is, or that the town is moving, move towards silver status. Very proud of that. This seems,
Yeah.
a lot of the things. A lot of the downsides to these data centers seem to cut into the gains made for that through sustainability.
Okay, how does it not align with the climate smart community?
Well, I mean, just the goals to be more sustainable, to use more renewable energy, use. I don't know, I don't know
Energy.
all the check boxes, but
Like per capita, and this would be people, it's not
Oh.
connected to people.
Per capita, that's what we'll need, per capita.
Energy use. And
Of course, what they're gonna say is like, that's the not in my backyard, because we are using.
But that Dryden has pledged to be a climate smart community, so whether these have not. So that would be a big part of it.
In all honesty, the NIMBY thing is probably the biggest question.
what's wrong with that?
people know me all the time.
I'm not saying figure anything is. I'm just saying if there's gonna be anything that comes up, I think that's something to think about how we respond to that. As far as we use the tech, but we don't want the servers. I think that's just a general thing to think about how we answer that question. Not necessarily you guys, but I feel like I need to think about how to answer that question.
I mean, it is,
I think the answer is pretty simple. It's a draw on energy from our community without giving anything in return.
Oh, I agree,
Simple
Steve.
as that.
My just question is, and it's more of a thing to think about as a national global culture is
Yeah.
I am in 100% agreement on that.
So is there?
The question is where else should it be happening?
Right,
Because
so
we're
it's-
using the technology, but where should it go?
Is there a way to?
There's not a great
quantify-
answer.
Yeah.
Is there a way to quantify how much data use, you know, an average,
Right,
you know,
don't we-
middle class American uses in upstate New York and then, you know, then you can know how much the town uses and then offset it with the limits, and maybe it's a 5 megawatt or 1 megawatt facility, I don't know. Seems like it's
I
probably.
like
not
that
big.
idea.
Well, that was, yeah, it was like you.
We're a data neutral community.
Different,
Right.
but that's.
But I have no idea, I mean, I think.
Yes.
I think if you know, you could have data be used just by the town of Dryden, then we could say, yeah, it's making our processing faster, you know, it's great for that, but that's not happening. It's gonna be worldwide that people are gonna be using it, so.
But it's the same, I mean, we're using data worldwide too, right? So
Sure.
we're,
Sure.
I think to Spring's point, we're tapping into a resource and not. And one argument of why we should allow is because, well, you're using this, why shouldn't you process data here? Why does someone else have to pay, you know, the environmental cost of your usage? So
Yeah.
I can see just being a good citizen and saying, well, we're using it, we should take ownership and produce our own. And somehow regulate and try to reduce the impacts of that footprint, because there have to be data centers, right? I mean, everybody except for maybe Warren
But we don't have a choice in
uses
this.
data regularly.
Yeah, we don't have a choice if you know, like AI is processing what we're saying at Google.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of
can't-
do, you can turn it
We
off.
can't be more efficient that way because we don't have a choice.
You can turn it off.
Well, yeah.
Or not have one. A flip phone, but so I appreciate that.
Still using it.
I think that's makes sense, so. But there's no real way to quantify this. I mean, the average out.
So we aren't getting.
Well,
very-
I looked it up.
I'll
Yeah.
ask ChatGPT right now.
I did. I looked it up and it says an average American family house in New York uses 576 kilowatt hours of electricity per month, and that approximately is about $262 per month, a little over $1,000 or $3,000 for electricity in the year.
But how much data?
Right, but I think the question, Naomi, was how much data are we using? How much, what are our data needs? You know, regarding, so data centers are crunching numbers for stuff, right? So when we do AI, when we do whatever. There are data centers out there that crunch these numbers. How much does an average person use? How much data does an average person use? And can we offset that with a facility in the town? And I'm guessing no. But I don't know.
Well, and the only other thing would be, we have limited space for light industrial. This is, I'm just thinking of this now. We have limited space for light industrial because we have zoned it into these particular spaces. And if this goes in and it does not create many people jobs, that is opportunity lost for a different business to use that space.
To give jobs and a tax.
That would hopefully, but of course, we don't know
No.
that it would. What that could be is yet another self-storage space. The self-storage space takes up more space and does not create many jobs for people.
It doesn't use as much resources. either.
It doesn't use as much resources, but it's, yeah, and the storage space also can create a fire hazard. People are storing lithium batteries in there. That thing catches fire.
Wow. Not to the same degree a data center catching on fire.
I'm just saying, you know, and there is a storage space there, a big one, and they were expanding it, so. So far, I haven't seen a lot of people use in the spaces. What went into the Wilcox, the Knickerbocker mattresses? How many people are hired by Knickerbocker?
I don't know.
I don't think it's anywhere near the amount of people that were hired by Wilcox Press,
Probably not.
which was running 24/7. Yeah, I mean, the amount of manufacturing type jobs or people jobs seems to steadily be decreasing.
So maybe we shouldn't help it by allowing data centers.
Well, give me wording for me to take to ZAG.
Got a lot written there, all that stuff.
And more than anything, what we're all saying is like, there's just not enough information.
Well, I'd
We
say
need
increased
more
tax base, not
information.
really. Noise. But they're gonna say, well, there's an ordinance, it's true, there's a noise ordinance, and there's no reason to believe that this is going to create anything more of a noise problem than a number of other kinds of businesses. There's the use of utilities, it's going to use, but the main utility it's going to use is going to be electrical.
But that could.
That's
Or
the-
water.
And that, and
Or
and
water, we
they
don't know.
understand that can result in, they expect it probably would result in increased rates for everybody, so that's there.
But yeah, I'm all in on NIMBY. I want my electric rates to go. I'm already buying green cars to meet the climate goal thing, and now I gotta plug them in and pay more for it. Better off burning gas. I'm going back to ice.
The coal.
Uh,
Yeah, I want clean coal. We want a coal
Bring
plant.
that for a minute. Jim's losing his mind.
He's just.
And I don't know.
You do realize it's being recorded, there's no such thing as striking through the minutes anymore. So we have
And AI is watching.
not aligning with a climate smart community. And that's drawing on energy without return. It's really not a very strong argument.
So do you have a sense for why the planning board chose to just write, to limit the size of the data center rather than outright banning it?
I was told originally that they were under the belief that it was better, if not the only way to do it, to make it to allow it, but have it limited in size rather than ban it. And it was only because Marie asked at the ZAG meeting about, why can't we ban it? And the consultant said, well, you can. And then she was like, whoa, sounds good, let's do that. But of course, the planning board had already been, sort of focused on their limited size one. And I don't think they're getting away from that. Like I said, when they took the vote at the planning board meeting, there were 4 votes for increasing the size.
Really?
Yes. And there were 2 votes for banning. And there were 3 votes for the 5,000 square feet. So, I mean, it doesn't look so promising. The 20,000 foot got 4 votes at that. They are still discussing it. They were straw votes. But just to let you know, that's not what's going.
Can I ask, did they voice why they said they wanted to increase it? Like, what was their background?
I think they look at it as opportunities for the future in some unknown way. I think a lot of us are looking at this as so much is unknown. And what would come in to use it, we don't know. I mean, it's hard to think that someone would create and as you point out, we can't tell what they're doing. It's this thing they say not for Bitcoin mining, but you can't know that that's what they're doing. It does.
Well, we could, we could, if we want to try to accept data centers, we could do something like, we could say the Conservation Board would recommend that zoning should reflect our climate smart community and only allow data centers which offset energy usage with renewable energy inputs. something like that.
Say that again.
That the
Zoning
conservation
should
board
align, zoning should,
reflect our climate smart community and only allow data centers which offset energy usage with
Wait a minute.
renewable energy input.
I can't write that fast.
Sorry.
You could type that.
I can't type that.
No, he
fast.
does.
And only accept data centers which offset,
Yeah,
okay, what's the rest after offset?
which offset energy usage with renewable energy inputs,
With,
or some wording to that effect.
don't say some other word, with, which offset energy usage with, what was it?
Renewable energy inputs.
I
mean,
don't
that
want to
would've-
take the conversation down a rabbit hole, but that's.
Okay, do we want to take a vote
like
on
an
that
existing
suggestion?
carbon tax.
What'd you say, Spring?
I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but that makes me think about a lot of conversations around carbon tax.
Hmm,
Don't use those words because people don't like the word tax, but
yeah.
I think that conversation is gonna have to come back around on the planet at some point.
Well, wait.
I mean,
so-
this would address at least one of the two things that we had talked about, which is, you know, the draw on energy in our community. And also there's also a draw on water, but I think we're kind of a water rich community. So, but yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Okay, should we
But
take a vote on this,
I
on
would
this
feel
statement?
comfortable voting, I think for the reasons that Craig said, but I would feel comfortable saying that this is all we discussed and you sharing that with the group, like, I don't
Okay.
know that we need to. That's what I feel like, I don't
I
feel
would
like we
agree
need
with
to vote.
that. Just. that was-
Is there a general agreement that this sounds like a good thing to say?
Yeah.
Does anybody object if I say this? That's, I think that's okay.
We all win.
we can make a motion. I can make a motion that Nancy will say this to the planning board.
She's already going.
I mean,
to.
she's our representative and she's just
Yeah,
pointing out like what our discussions were.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
think
That's-
why she's there.
That's reasonable.
So I have to make sure I make it there.
Make it happen.
This Thursday. Thursday at 6:00.
Right.
Well, I'm glad my dog isn't hoofed. Because she's out.
Yeah.
So I'm not facing a $250 fine for a hoofed animal. Of course, I don't know what the dog warden, but the dog warden
Back
can't
to your
catch her,
question,
so.
yeah.
Don't they have to catch her
Yeah.
to find me for having the dog out?
I would think so.
And I don't know what to do about keeping her in. She's just, I think she dug out under the fence again. She has discovered that she can dig out. I mean, how do you stop that? Akbash, but this is Tuesday. Hopefully tomorrow I will take her and a ram to the solar site. And she'll have 8 acres.
Explore.
to-
Try to tunnel out of.
She can easily get out of that. Oh my God. But hopefully that will be enough and she'll realize, and hopefully that, but I'm gonna have to stay there all day with her to make sure she knows that's her new place. And make
I'll show
sure
you my
she-
invisible fence, Nancy, and then you just have to run a wire all the way around your property. But
I actually have invisible fence around places. But the
Yeah.
other thing is getting it to work. I have a collar for her that will zap her, but you know, those dogs have such thick skin and such thick fur that having the collar work, I remember I tried to get it to work on Ozzy. I ended up soaking his neck with salt water and making it tight. And at the end of a week, well, I did, I cut his hair and everything. And that worked, but at the end of the week, I had to take it off and because he was gonna get sore. He was getting sore. You know, you just can't do that. So, see the.
All right, so for offline discussion, if you want to email me later, my mom has one that does a vibration and it works way better than the shop.
Well, no, this does.
But
vibrate
not
too.
for this meeting, different discussion, but I'll be happy to share with you the info.
No, this collar also does vibration.
Get back
I've
on
done it.
track, please.
Done it. So anyway, that's,
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, we're having done quite quickly. Does anyone have anything to report on outreach efforts? Or great. And I appreciate everyone's efforts in putting articles in the newsletter
outreach efforts on,
and anything.
It's us out there in the world.
Just outreach. I know there's been discussion about getting a presence online. I don't know if we've made any progress towards that.
I thought you guys said for the next newsletter, you were gonna post something about
Let's see.
the call for volunteers for Bob's Memorial Garden.
Yeah.
Earlier in the meeting.
Yes. When do we have to get that stuff in, you know, Laura?
Probably
Tomorrow.
sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it usually goes out early in the month.
Did you receive anything? He usually sends it to the chairs.
Rumors.
I did have to find it. Who sends that?
Passing. It's CASSIE.
Good money flipping, it's all I know. Been something for a while, right?
I scared my feet and he's literally between my legs.
No, it's because Dad got pissed at him for nothing.
You might want to mute Naomi.
No.
October newsletter, is that what we're looking for?
Mhm.
I'll need to publish before October 3rd, so no later than October 1, so tomorrow.
I think anyone sent it for the whatever it's called, LPC, Greg. Do you think anyone sent it to her for that?
What?
Sent it to Cassie for the planning thing, LPC?
I say an email reminder.
I wonder.
And I'll send
First,
her,
this.
I'll
thing
remind her
about setting
personally
the
tomorrow.
energy.
Yes, give a little placeholder.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything you can do really. We can get them to say they're gonna.
That's why
So-
it's so. Don't want to do it.
Let's circle back to this animal law that you guys are concerned about. If it affects the environment, the safe environment in town of Dryden, I think it's something that the conservation board could have an interest in. So the town is proposing some kind of farming ordinance that would regulate landowners' ability to let cows run free. Or livestock run free, does that include dogs, is that where this came up? Is it a dog?
No, my dog is out because my dog is very smart. She can climb a cattle panel, she can undo a cliff. She can,
But this law is just for.
this is for hoofed animals only.
So the purpose of this law is to promote the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the town of Dryden. This law aims to minimize conflicts between agricultural operations and neighboring properties, protect environmental quality, and ensure responsible livestock management. By setting standards for the confinement of livestock and acquiring sufficient setback for fencing and structures, the town seeks to foster harmonious land use and maintain the rural character of the community. Sounds reasonable to me.
Wait a minute, I have to find where it is here. Where did I get that?
So somehow the thing they're proposing to enforce that is somehow.
Wait a minute, come here down. Here's the thing. Stream.
So it's sheep,
Go ahead, here we
cows,
go.
goats, horses, swan. Swine.
Little swines.
Emus, rays, ostriches. And all poultry. And any other animal raised for food, product, or sale.
What about
So-
chickens?
That could cover a dog.
Chicken's poultry, last time I checked.
Oh God, focus on it now. Stop. Okay. See, that's the thing, to talk about, the purpose of it is to promote the health, safety, and welfare. Oh, of residents, okay, of residents, they don't care about the animals. About ensure reasonable, responsible livestock management, better not have burdock in your wall.
Livestock.
Standards, they're gonna set standards for confinement and requiring sufficient setbacks for fencing.
Well, so, I mean, it seems that basically the law is saying that if you have animals, you need to keep them secured and not let them run on
Yeah.
other people's property,
Which
which seems
you-
reasonable. I don't know why you're concerned about the town enforcing any laws.
Fine.
I mean, other than the dog guy, just fined me once.
No,
I
it's, if any,
haven't actually received a fine, might have been a violation for the town. but-
It's the livestock auction, they lose.
Yes, they do. They
Clearly,
do.
over to our school.
Yes, they do.
That's always fun.
It was.
Okay.
found out, they have to.
Well, it would seem to me that if the.
Okay,
if-
every animal officer, every peace officer, any police officer may administer and enforce the provisions of this article, and for that person have the authority to issue appearance tickets and to seize livestock, either on or off the owner's premises.
There you go.
There you go. Any officer can come onto my property and
For a
take my
reason
animal.
though, not.
If,
Not
read the whole
because they
thing,
feel
if
like
witnessed to be in violation of the code.
I'm just saying that it ends up being, and then, so then they take the animal. And it's up to you to prove that they shouldn't have. Meanwhile, they've taken the animal
Mhm.
and they've put it in a containment area. You prove that they shouldn't have taken it. They still get to charge you their costs for taking it and holding it.
What are the reasons for coming to take it?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I had to know someone whose guardian dog was taken.
But
And
is
it
that
took her a
this law?
year to get it
Or
back,
is that
and then
this
they
law?
charged her over $1,000
Talking about dogs,
in maintenance for that.
Unless you're raising it for meat.
Yeah, this.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, it doesn't, it could be something else. It can be something else. They can take it, you know, they can charge you all kinds of money for it before you even get it back.
So members of the ag community are likely upset about this law. I mean, obviously, this law was being proposed for somebody's been taking advantage of their neighbors and letting their animals run free and not responding to requests to be a good neighbor, and so the town has felt the need to institute a law. As a non-farmer, I don't see a problem with this. I wouldn't want someone's, I mean, I think most people are reasonable, and if it's accidental and you have an occasional. I mean, I know there were cows running around, I had a cow in my backyard a few years ago, and I didn't go screaming for someone to come and take care of it. I figured it got away and. You know, it left on its own, but if it's a habitual thing and a neighbor is being unneighborly, then. They're not responsive, then I can see how there needs to be some. Maybe there doesn't need to be, but there should be some kind of ordinance in place, so.
I think when you take like, obviously want to support public, but like safety of the children and stuff.
Exactly.
Like there was a bull.
Yeah.
Got loose from the livestock auction, went through my neighbor's fence, and it's like, they're not, like, someone should probably pay for that
Yeah.
fence.
No, they
that's
didn't,
a little
didn't they?
scary. There's no fence there, that was quite a few years ago, this was.
I mean, but they could have paid and then the owners decided to take the
Yeah.
butts.
But it was like, and it was like the firefighters ended up having to like help with that, 'cause it was days after, because they only open Wednesdays.
But so
Anyway,
the
but
follow-up
just safety
to,
of kids.
the follow-up to that preamble is that if, you know, but if. The town is interested in putting this law in the books, they should certainly look to the ag committee and others for input onto the wording of that, and make sure it's not being overly restrictive or. You know, if this paragraph about coming onto your land and seizing an animal seems a little excessive.
And maybe like some graduated fines or something like that, where, you know, the first offense, you know, is you just have to retrieve the animal. The second one, you're getting a fine. The third one, your animal's taken away, things like that.
This the one that came from Colony?
Yeah, that's what it's based on.
So, and I can understand doing that. We, you know, we did our our resource plan and we copied others.
Yeah.
It's what we did. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, it's out there, but I think the town should at least have the good grace to take input from members of the agricultural community and, you know, as represented on the ag committee and members of the public who happen to farm and listen to their concerns too.
Oh, one of the things that came up with the ag committee was what officer or something is gonna be able to come and get a cow.
Mhm.
Yeah, and take them away.
Yeah,
But
and that's put in the back of the
Especially
squad
if
car.
they're So, and it says it's going to be setting standards for confinement and requiring sufficient setbacks for fencing and structures, and yet it does not address that at all. Thank God, but yet, I mean, then it could come into something else. So they probably wouldn't like it when I set my net fence on the roadside of the ditch at one point and let my sheep clear out the
Clear it.
ditch. And all the neighbors in Ellis Hollow said, your sheep did such a better job than the town. I was like,
So Spring, I guess I would request on behalf of the board that if the town does. If this does come before the town, that you suggest that they kick it back to the ag committee for their input and you know,
Yep.
I'm assuming any law has to have some kind of public.
Yeah,
input.
no, absolutely.
Anyway. People seem to be getting antsy, so anyone have anything else?
If a cow wanders on your property, does it become yours?
No,
No,
Or are you a rustler then? If you take it.
So it's very different out west, like out west, if a cow gets out, and if you're driving along and you hit a cow, you're liable for that cow, not the other way around, so. So we live in a very different world than.
oh, in India, it's even worse. They'll kill you. Holy cow.
Anyway, I take those as motions to adjourn. Anyway, thank you all. See you in October.
Yep.
Happy Halloween.
Well, we'll see if we can.
But why don't I just talk to Jason and I could probably go up and talk to those
How was your-
people on Deer Haven and get.
Parent teachers, been good.
Yeah, how's it going?